All right, welcome. Today we're going to pull back the curtain on the secret that makes your favorite websites feel, well, alive and interactive. This is one of the absolute cornerstones of the web, so let's just jump right in. You know the feeling, right? You've done it a million times. You hit a like button, a heart instantly fills in. You add something to your shopping cart, and the little number at the top of the page ticks up by 1. The page never goes white, it never reloads, it just changes. How in the world does that happen? Well, it might feel like magic, but it's actually something even cooler. The answer is a powerful system called the Document Object Model, or what pretty much everyone calls it, the DOM. And once you get this, you get how the whole modern web really works. So, what exactly is the DOM? Honestly, the best way to think about it is as a live, interactive blueprint for any web page. It's the master plan that shows where every single piece goes and how all those pieces are connected. Okay, so here's the more official definition, which sounds a little technical, I know, but let's break it down. All it's really saying is that the DOM takes a static HTML document and turns it into a living structure of objects. And that's absolutely critical because it acts as a bridge, a translator, between your page's content and a language like JavaScript. And that brings us to the most important idea here, the tree structure. Think of it like a family tree for your web page. Every single thing, a heading, a paragraph, even the actual text inside the paragraph is represented as a node or a point on this tree. This organization is what lets our code zero in on any specific part of the page we want to change. And you can see that idea right here. The main HTML tag is like the trunk of the tree. Branching off of that, you have major limbs like the body. And then off of that branch, you have all the leaves like your headings and your lists. It's a really clear, logical flow from the biggest container all the way down to the smallest detail. Okay, so if the DOM is our blueprint, then JavaScript is the construction crew with a full toolkit. So let's take a look at the essential tools a developer uses to actually change this blueprint in real time. First things first, before you can do anything, paint a wall, change a light bulb, you have to find it, right? It's the same here. You can't update a headline if your code can't find that specific headline. So step 1 is always selecting the exact element or node from that tree we just talked about. And here are a few of the most popular tools for the job. If an element has a totally unique ID, getElementById is your go-to. It's super fast. If you want to grab a whole bunch of similar items, like all of your product cards, you might use getElementsByClassName. And then there's querySelector, which is like a Swiss Army knife, incredibly flexible for finding all sorts of things. Okay, so we've selected our element. Now the fun begins. Let's actually change something. And the most common thing you'll do is just change the content inside of it, like swapping out the text in a button or updating a status message. Now, there's a really important distinction here. If you just want to change the words, you use text content. It's safe, it's simple. But if you want to add new HTML structure inside an element, like making a word bold or adding a whole new link, you need inner HTML. It can actually build new HTML for you. And get this, we're not just stuck editing what's already on the page. Using the DOM, our JavaScript can create brand new elements completely out of thin air. A new paragraph, a new button, a whole new section of the site, we can just create it whenever we need to. So we can change the content, but what about how it looks? Well, we can change styles too. You can apply a style directly, like saying, make this text blue, but a much cleaner and more powerful way is to manage CSS classes. By just adding or removing a simple class name, like highlight, you can trigger a whole set of pre-designed styles all at once. Way more efficient. So, we have all these amazing tools for changing the page. But when do these changes actually happen? What's the trigger? The answer to that is the final and maybe the most crucial piece of the puzzle, event handling. This is the secret sauce. Think of addEventListener as a little spy that you tell to watch a specific element. You tell it, hey, watch this button. And if and only if a user clicks on it, I want you to run this block of code. It's what connects a person's action to a change on the screen. Okay, that's a lot of theory. Let's see how all these pieces click together in a real-world example. We're going to walk through the logic of a classic, building a dynamic to-do list where you can add and remove items without ever reloading the page. So adding a new task really boils down to 4 simple steps. First, we listen for a click on that Add button. As soon as it's clicked, we grab whatever text the user typed into the box. Then we use their DOM tools to create a brand new list item. And finally, we stick that new item onto the list that's already on the page and poof, it just appears. And here's what that looks like in code. Step 1, you see we select the Add Task button. Then, right after that, we attach our event listener, our little spy, to it. Everything else that needs to happen will be inside that function that runs only when the button is clicked. Now, once that button is clicked, this code springs into action. We use createElement to conjure up a new empty list item. Then, we use that text content property we talked about to set its text to whatever the user typed into the input field. And for the final step, we have to make it visible. Right now, our new task is just kind of floating in the computer's memory. So we select the main task list on the page, and then we use a method called appendChild. This literally just adds our new task to the end of the list. That's it. Instant update, no reload. And of course, to make this actually useful, we'd also add a little delete button to every new task we create. And guess what? That button gets its own event listener. When you click it, its job is to find the list item it belongs to and tell it to just remove itself from the page.
So let's pull back. Why does any of this matter? Because once you really understand the DOM, your whole relationship with the web changes. You're not just looking at static pages anymore. You start to see this living, breathing blueprint that can be reshaped and rebuilt at any moment. When you boil it all down, the DOM is what gives us these superpowers to update content, to change styles, and to react to every user click, all on the fly. It is the engine that drives basically every rich, interactive web app that we use every single day. And that's really the whole secret. The DOM isn't some deep, dark magic. It's a blueprint and a set of tools. And now you understand how it works. So the only question that's left is, now that you know the blueprint, what are you going to build?